Hey, witches!
Hi, hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Sun and Its Shade. I took a drink of water and it splashed back at my face.
Yeah.
Um, Today we are finishing part one, which is so crazy.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even realize until I got to the end.
I know, I was like, oh, there's parts.
I was like, wow, that was like perfect. We didn't even do that on purpose.
Mm-mm.
Can we talk
It
about
was
how
like a,
much easier this section was to read because there were
yeah.
multiple Nox chapters?
I know. When it got back to Amaris, I was like,
I know. Well, and like I partially like it's partially just because I like Nox better. But also I think some of it is I get really confused sometimes reading the Amaris chapters because Amaris reminds me a lot of Selena from Throne of Glass, and then
mm.
something else that happens in here reminds me like the Amaris chapters in this section. I was like, did you read Throne of Glass right before you wrote this? Or not Throne of Glass, but Queen of Shadows, like that series right before you wrote this? Because
Listen, I was thinking a lot about that while I was reading this. I was sitting here like, you know, I obviously don't pay attention a lot to a lot of the social media things. And I didn't even realize there was like a whole controversy with Piper CJ, like at all. I had no idea.
I didn't either till we
And
talked about it.
I started looking more into it, and it was like more along the like claims of plagiarism in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was like, huh? Like, how would she like have these claims? Like, she's got, um, you know, a master's in folklore. Like, she's got this history of doing this and doing that and blah 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 blah. And like, other than the whole promoting racism and ableism in a lot of her books, like that's a different controversy. But there was a lot of things I was reading where it was like, oh, this is
The
like
further we
directly
get into
from,
this book, the more I'm like, oh, Amaris is based on Aelin Galanathis. Like, wow. And I might have
well,
pronounced that wrong because I'm reading the books and I haven't done the pronunciations for Throne of Glass, but wow.
I'm not even reading it, and all I can think of is like The Witcher.
Oh, that too. But like, if you had read Throne of Glass, which is weird that I've read something Sarah J. Maas that you haven't, but if you had read Throne of Glass, like she is very pale, very beautiful, has white blonde hair. She has a grumpy winged fae who is like her mentor from her homeland that she didn't realize was from her homeland. Like it's this whole thing. And then something that happens in these chapters, which I will mention when we talk about it because I don't want to jump ahead. Um, Literally also happens in those books slightly differently, but it happens in those books. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? What's going on?
Yeah. Well, and I was sitting here like, this whole orb dangerous trial at the academy thing is like reminiscent of Harry Potter and all the shit that they do. And I was like, that's fucking weird. Okay.
Yeah.
And then like some of the shit that happens with Knox, I'm sitting here like, that's weird. That's very similar to this. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The way he's describing this is similar to a different series. And I was like,
Which
Are any of this?
it could be that like she does have. Oh my gosh, it could be that because she does have that background in folklore that like because a lot of those authors pull some of their
True.
like I'm just trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Like she might have just straight up plagiarized. I don't know. Um, but like a lot of authors pull from mythology and folklore and stuff for their stories. Um, and because she has such an extensive background in folklore, maybe she's just pulling some of her favorite things from folklore. Um, but it is kind of suspicious how
Yeah.
similarly, like, it almost feels like Amaris is based on the main character in Throne of Glass,
Yeah. It's
with some very definite things that have been taken from Witcher, but
yeah. I was like, mm, I just feel like it's a like a fanfic of a lot of
almost,
different
yeah.
series. Like I'm not saying it's bad. It's
No,
definitely slow to get into, but
yeah, and I'm still enjoying reading it. I still like the story. I love Knox.
I'm just like it's just giving me like a fanfic idea.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But that's kind of I don't want to open up the whole I didn't look much into like the ableism and the racism part of her thing. I can see it the more I'm in getting into the book.
Yeah.
Like the dark fae. It's like why does it have to be dark fae? Why aren't they just fae? You're right though.
Yeah.
And then there's like like a racism against them. I don't know. The whole story with the queen and the king of the north just reminds me of like the small little story of what happened in The Witcher with Ciri's grandmother and Ciri's mom and Ciri's dad, and I'm just like
Yeah.
a curse, a long lost love.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
but anyways, I guess we
Yes.
should get into it. I
Yeah,
don't even
let's
have
get
my
into
book
it.
open, so
Chapter 12. I didn't write a whole lot about chapter 12.
I didn't write a whole
Um,
lot about any of it.
I didn't either. The first thing I noticed though in reading this time was poor Malik is just falling more and more in love with Knox.
You know
And
what? I'd be okay with that though. That's such a good dynamic.
so I almost feel like so I guess the my gay little heart is like, no, you cannot take this epic female romance and have them both end up with males. However,
Amaris is pissing me off. So like right now, she doesn't deserve anything.
no, I agree. But however, my like free love gay little heart is also like I would be okay with a like fluid relationship as
Yeah,
long as they were still each other's like true love and like
you can have
because
some fun along the
obviously
way, but then get together at the end, kind of thing.
yeah. Well, and obviously with Nox's gift, like she's not going to be able to be strictly faithful in the physical sense to Amaris because she has to feed. And
Hmm.
she can't just feed on Amaris. So
Or
like,
can she?
well, I don't know. That was kind of explored
Oh,
in these
can
chapters.
she?
So I don't know. But we'll have to see.
Hmm. Or can she? The I I really like I don't know. I really like Malik. I also really like how damaged Nox is, and I feel like Malik is such a pure good person
Yeah.
that like no matter what Nox does, no matter what Nox has done, no matter what comes her way or what is said about her or what she finds out who she truly is, any of that, he will see the good in her. And I feel like she needs that in her life. And regardless of what kind of biopic this is supposed to be relationship wise, I would love if, even if like they don't end up whatever, I would love to see them have a little romance or even just like the best of friends kind of thing. What if Malik's gay? I would love that. That would be
Right?
dope.
Yeah.
But anyways, I feel like this like whatever relationship it is, I think it would be beneficial for her in terms of healing.
I do too. I have a theory about that. I didn't write it down, but I'm wondering, it kind of feels like, with based on everything that happens over the next couple chapters, it kind of feels like we're really building up their relationship and their like connection. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
very worried that when, because I think we're very close to them finding out what she is.
Yeah.
And I'm very worried that he is going to be like, I was never actually attracted to you. You were using your gifts on me. Like, and he's going to feel betrayed by her,
Yeah.
mainly because that is a common trope, and that is a trope that is used in some of the other books we've mentioned. So I could
Mm-hmm.
see it being,
A
um,
thing.
yeah, like I could see
It's
it being
very
a thing in this book.
yeah.
And then can we talk about the cuckoo crazy village that they go to?
Yeah, this really threw me off. I was like, oh, so they're following a little enchanted artifact and they're going to a village. Cool. To go find the Rascot men in blue. Cool. Okay. And they show up and everything is quiet. Too quiet, very eerie. No one knows anything. And all of a sudden, somebody opens up the door and like hurries them in and asks if they're crazy. And everyone's like, are you okay? Like, is everything
Like,
fine?
what's happening?
There's demons out there. And they were like, no, there's not, but okay. Like, oh, you're talking about the Agibni. And they're like, no, the
No.
spider.
She's like,
The fuck?
what spider?
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like, a blood curdling scream happens. And it's like,
Yeah. And
okay.
then that's the end of chapter 12.
Yeah.
And then
I
in
do like,
chapter, oh, yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I do like how we find out though the oh Nox is so down on herself. She's like, well, how am I going to be like helpful to these men? They've trained for years. What do I do? Lure men into my trap and then tell them what to do? Like, that's not good. And then she's just like, I figured out how it works. This is how we're going to go here. And it's like, oh, yeah, I led you to your death almost. Sorry.
Right?
But it's like, okay, Nox is useful. We found out all the cool things she could have. She's here to stay. There is no whatever. But where's the Rascot men? That's my question.
Yeah.
You were sent knowing where this was, whatever. So my theory, the witch is all powerful, or the queen is all powerful, sorceress, witch, whatever she is, half fae, something. What if she it like not necessarily enchanted the watch, but essentially like faked it
Oh, like
to
led them
lure
into a
them to
trap.
their death. Yeah. To like get
And
them off the scent.
based on your theory, another theory, what if the Rascot men were the spider?
Oh.
And
What if
like
the
now they've
Rascot men
killed,
what do you mean? We're the spider? Oh, like the oh,
like they, like she turned them into the spider, or made it appear that they were the spider.
that's a good one. Yeah, I do like that. My thing is why are they attacking? Why is the spider attacking
Yeah.
if they are the men?
Well, maybe she has enchanted the village to make it look like their enemies or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ooh,
The the spider was very random and weird, and we end up leaving
giant.
we end up leaving Knox's chapters before we find out really the conclusion. I mean, not the conclusion to the spider, but to the
Like,
Rascot men.
yeah. I mean, like chapter 13 was all about the fight with the spider. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of I'm going to go save the day and then a lot of what can I do to help? I can't do anything. I'm a measly
Yeah,
non-tradable person. Oh no, they're going to die. I need to
yeah,
do
but
something.
I feel like we first have to read the description of this monstrosity that is the spider, because I don't want people imagining like an Aragog kind of vibe from Harry Potter.
Oh,
No,
when I
this bitch
when
is
I heard
terrifying.
when I heard spider, that's exactly what I was thinking was like a giant Aragog like from Hogwarts Legacy
Yeah,
kind of
no.
bullshit. And then when I read it, I was like, "Oh,
Ugh.
this is a demon from hell. Like this is a whole new
Yeah.
species."
So, um, 8 horrible legs prickled with barbs and glistening with a heinous liquid tore from hovel to hovel, ripping chunks of mortar from the homes. The abdomen was that of a spider, but the twisted torso and breasts of a woman rose from this godless creature, larger than a horse. Her ribs jutted terribly against her night dark skin. The spider had the long, wet hair of something that had just crawled from the swamps of the earth. As if her 8 legs were an insufficient number of appendages, 2 long humanoid arms covered in jagged spikes descended from her shoulders. When she threw back her face to scream, her jaw unhinged like a snake. And while a woman should have just 2 eyes, the spider had dozens of black glinting beads clustering the expanse of her unearthly face. So we also hit another point of like kind of racism there because the spider has night dark skin. Um, it could be argued that most spiders are black, but are they? If you
No.
really like they're not. Most of them are brown or colorful.
Yeah. Like they get a
Um,
lot of the yellow orb weavers down here that are like
yeah,
yellow black with a little bit of white,
yeah.
but
And
mainly
most spiders
yellow.
up here are brown. Like we have a lot of wolf spiders, which are brown.
Yeah, they gotta blend in with the dirt.
Yeah. So that's also a point where you could say that. But um I so like you said, they're like fighting and so the fucking spider's about to eat Malik. And then on page 135, I'm fucking dying. Okay. Um Nox has come out and she's trying to like distract the spider so Ash can finish her off, and that's not working. So she
Yeah,
finds
this
this
kind of
random,
like really confused me
yeah,
because I thought she like came out, distracted her, and then the spider's like, "Oh, here I come for you, bitch," and then starts like running after her, and then Nox is like, "Oh fuck, okay," and then like runs,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden Ash is like distracting the spider, but like we didn't hear him say anything to like get the spider back to him. And then she's like running for her life, and then all of a sudden she sees this axe and she's trying to rip it out, but the spider's not on her anymore. And I'm like, what?
yeah. Well, so at one point while she's running, she says that she could hear Ash, um, where'd it go? A sound let her know that Ash had made another slash at the creature on page 134. So maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
where Ash got her attention back. But yeah, she
Maybe.
finds this fucking axe and then she runs out into where they're fighting. And she goes, "Hey, bitch!"
She just fucking
the,
chucks it.
the
Just is
way
like
I had to stop
tomahawks.
reading. I had to stop reading and fucking laugh because she just goes, "Hey, bitch!"
Here we go. And then just chucks the bitch all the way to the spider into the chest and
Yeah.
lands true. Like, okay, in what fucking world is this axe
Especially when
growing?
she was just talking about how she has no upper body strength. Like, Unless there was like
I
divine
can't get it out of
intervention
the
here.
tree. Yeah. I can't get out of the tree. It's stuck. I have no upper body strength. How am I gonna do it?
And then she fucking chucks it.
Yeet the motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then it hits true. And then it just fucking murders the damn thing. And then Ash
Spider
is
is
like,
murdered.
all right, finish a move. Whips his sword through her neck and decapitates her.
Yeah. And that. Oh, and then Malik is like dying, basically, right? Like, they talk about his death rattle breath because the spider squeezed him so tight that she, like, probably ruptured
Probably. Yeah,
internal
because he's
organs and
bleeding
shit.
from the mouth.
Um, but Nox is like, fuck that. And she kisses Malik, kind of, but not really.
She doesn't kiss him. She puts her entire mouth like a Heimlich maneuver, like when you put your whole mouth
Like,
like
yeah,
over
like
like.
CPR. She, like,
Oh,
yeah. And, like,
open wide.
blows the spark, the life spark she had devoured from the captain of the guard many moons ago, um, and like blows it into his body, and then passes out. But can we talk about that? Like, she didn't know if that was gonna work. She didn't know what was gonna happen. She just did it. What if that life spark was connected to his soul? So, like, what if she blew the fucking captain of the guard into Malik's body?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my god, like what if we have to deal with the captain of the guard yet again?
Right.
And we just like lost fucking Malik.
And not only that, but he has Malik's face, so now it's going to be doubly hard to kill him. Like,
Yeah.
that all felt super risky to me. And I'm still not convinced that, like,
He's
I
not
don't
in there
know.
somewhere.
Right. But also,
Like he's
like,
not gonna like come out somehow.
yeah. But also, like, if it did truly work and it's just the life spark, there is no shred of soul attached to it, she could be like the Robin Hood of fucking life sparks. Like, she could kill all
Right.
the evil people and keep all the good people alive. Like,
Bitch, I got a few.
right. I have a list.
Maybe not now. It's been a few years. It's probably not good time right now, but
Well, I have a list of people she could take their life sparks to save for the future.
oh yeah, that's true. There you go. Don't you worry, I got you.
Yeah, I've got you a list. Oh my gosh. And that's the end of chapter 13. She passes out and chapter 13 is over.
You know, because I had an idea that Nox could reverse the whole like thing, but I don't know. I guess I just didn't expect it to happen or to be used in the form of like Malik.
Yeah.
But always the sunshine of every story fucking dies.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting Malik to die for sure.
Yeah. Like he's been the best one this entire story.
Yeah. So I was definitely expecting him to die. And he might still, but like,
Yeah, she needs to suck another life out of somebody.
yeah, just have it in reserve.
Yeah. She needs to have several just in case. She's the healer.
Right.
She's
Well,
the
so
healer of the
speaking of
party.
being a healer, in chapter 14, I feel like this book is Nox's healing journey. Like,
Yeah.
she's starting to realize that she is worth people showing her love and that she is worth, like, people do care about her. And the village lady that they met originally that they thought was crazy, talking about the spider, is taking care of Nox, and she's like feeding her broth, and because she's woken up now, and she's super weak. And this is 3 days later, and so she's like, rubbing her forehead and patting her down with cool water cloths, and she's like, she'd never had that before. And so I feel like this is just like a whole healing journey for Nox.
Yeah. It's also funny too because like they're this is kind of what happened before when Millicent basically killed her. She
Yeah.
had to essentially take a life of somebody to like regain her life force.
Yep.
Um and so she's like unable to move. She's unable to do anything. She's not struggling to breathe, but like it's like forcing. She's got to force things to happen. And then she can't really move. So she finds out that Ash and Malik went to get a healer, and they were like, we needed to find an actual healer of the magical sort.
Yeah.
So we used your little pocket watch to find her. And like, sorry it took so long. Like, we're here. We found her. Here we are. Like, don't die on us, whatever. So like this lady starts poking and prodding her, and she's like, yeah, they're definitely needing the healing of the like magical kind. And then she's like, after all of that's done, she like looks to the guys and goes, is this her normal appearance? And they're like, no, normally her hair is more like vibrant and her skin has like a glow. Her eyes aren't so flat and it's shallow now. And Malik's like, she's beautiful then and she's beautiful now, fuck you.
I know. And he's
Like,
like so in love with her, and it's so sad.
um and so then she's like, all right, will you try something for me? Will you just sit with her? And then like Ash sits by her feet and like kind of holds onto her feet and like squeezes them, and like Malik holds onto her hand by her face, and like they're talking to her. And then after speaking to her, she's able to actually use her strength to sit up. And then the healer in the fucking doorway goes, I thought as much.
Yeah.
And that's it.
She
Fuck
knows.
Nox for now, because we're done with her, I guess.
Yeah, that's the end of chapter 14 and the end of the Nox chapters for this section.
But but
But
you know what I said? I was like, wow, a woman who gets better when she's cared for. What a crazy thought.
right?
What a crazy idea.
Yeah.
I never knew being cared and nurtured for
Yeah.
was, the way to cure somebody.
It's a thing.
In not the physical sense, in the magical sense, mental health.
Right? Ugh. Listen,
Listen,
mental health
if
be
this
rough.
book is plagiarized and like, racist or ableism or whatever, let it be healing.
Okay. Yeah, and like I feel, and don't get me wrong, I definitely see what people are getting at with it being like ableist and
Yeah.
racist. But also I'm trying to think of how to say this in a way that's not going to make me sound like I'm agreeing with her, because I'm not. But sometimes those things are important to the plot. I don't know, like in this sense that
Let's
they
finish the
are.
story before we finish that. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Like I haven't finished the book. I haven't finished the next
As
couple
of
of books.
now, it could be important to the plot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying like it could be. I think part of me wants those allegations not to be true, because I feel like Piper CJ's story, at least as much of it as I know, seems really inspiring. And so I don't want those allegations to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean the story of the night in its moon, the sun in its shade. I mean her true life story.
Yeah. Because that's kind of not necessarily, she's not putting it in the book. She's like using her sex work as a prerogative in the story.
Yeah.
It's not like true stories kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
but
So then we're on to chapter 15.
and we're on to a Maris.
And you know what? I didn't hate these Amaris chapters, because I feel like I didn't write a lot about them, but I feel like there was um some interesting stuff that we learn.
There was a lot of plot points that made me think, which made me want to read a little more.
Yeah.
And last Amara's chapter made me like annoyed.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, are we done yet? Like,
Yeah, I was like, all right, bring back Nox. Can I just skip the Amara's chapters? Can I skim through them? Um, all right, so they just left the magic tower. They're fucking tired.
yeah.
They don't know what to do with their lives. They know about the curse. They know who King Ceres is to Gadriel. Their family.
Yep. And so they're in Amaris's room and they've just taken some healing tonic, and then we have like some of the first words, and I'm dying because what an ass Amaris. She's like, and here I thought you were a general because you were the strongest and the bravest. I didn't realize you held a nepotism title.
I know. I was like, I mean, that's true though.
I was
We,
cracking up.
it's like, High Lord of the Night Court, and you have the General and the Spy Master. That's like nepotism right there, now ain't it?
Yeah. I feel like, honestly, if you want to get real with the whole world, I feel like a lot of the world is nepotism.
Oh, 100%.
Like, even when it's not like familial, like you're not related to that person,
you got to know people.
yeah, you have to know people. Like, the biggest thing that you're taught in college for almost any profession is network.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like networking in itself is a little bit like nepotism. So,
Yeah, like in terms of like acting, that's basically how you get into the field. Like
yeah.
I met an acting coach. She hooked me, and she was like more for stage. She hooked me up with somebody who did more like film. And then I've been working with that one. And then I got those skills refined. And then I started doing online like podcast voice acting stuff with her. And then I booked things and I actually started getting paid for some stuff. And then I was like, oh, now I know these people. Now I know these people. Now I have this right here. Now I have this. And now I'm on IMDb. Like, now I'm like, that's networking.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
Right. It's all about knowing people, which is so unfortunate for those of us that just don't like people.
Oh God, right?
Like,
Everyone's like, "Oh, did you go to this networking thing for like these people?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't. I don't want to do
no,
that.
I don't want to do that. Can I not do that?
I don't want to go and talk to people. I Can you just give me their business card, and if I have a question, can I just text or email them,
Yeah,
please?"
absolutely. Agreed.
But anyways, so Gadriel is obviously like in a ton of pain, and she's just like, "Fucking tell me what's going on. Why won't you tell me?" And it's like, bro, first off, be fucking kind. Don't be a dick. You are straight up yelling at somebody who saved your life more than once with broken ass wings. And he's a fucking general in an army. You don't like follow suit with any of that. Like I honestly I followed more on Gadriel's side than her side. Like yeah, I'd want to know too. But like I'm not gonna poke and prod because like I understand.
Right, like it's not
Like I
really any
get
of
it.
her business.
Yeah, and so on like page 150, he's like, she's like, well, Gad, you haven't shared everything with me about your mission to the south. I shouldn't have to find out about you and this from like a curse. Like, why don't you tell me? And he's like, it's nothing I can share, which is true. You
Yeah,
literally straight up didn't tell her or tell him anything about your mission to the queen.
right.
And kind of, there's still quite a few things that you're missing to him. So, like, don't say anything. But they,
Yeah.
like,
So
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so on page 149, right at the beginning of this conversation, um, Gadriel's like they're talking about like when King Ceres used to be a good man, like he used to do this, he used to do that. Um, and she's like, "What happened?" And he says he fell in love, and that's all he says. So we already kind of know that from like one of the previous chapters, right?
From
We
the
think he fell
curse
in love with the
orb.
princess. Yeah, he fell in love with the
And
princess, or we're assuming that, I guess.
yeah.
But I also have a question.
Hmm.
Do we think that maybe because they talk about how he's looking for his son and it's feeling hopeless because they don't even know if that son exists? What if it wasn't a son?
I've already said that. I actually wrote that down. I wrote on page 157. Maybe she shouldn't. Oh no, not that. 158. I was like, you know, Mars, you're frustrating me now, and I honestly don't remember why I wrote that. Um. Oh, okay, I remember. So she was like, "Oh, he was in love with the princess. You need to tell me like long and hard. Like that's like the end of the page. Like that's the end of the chapter." She says this, and it's like, of course, it was the fucking princess. Why do you think he's imploring with the queen of all places? And she's like, you can't see her ever again. It's like, okay, no queen is ever going to be that upset over a subject if it's not related to her in some way. It's definitely the fucking princess. And the
Right,
fact
and
that
what
he is
if
like,
or what if it was the queen? And the reason she says you're never going to see her again is because it was a daughter.
oh, see, and then I put, you should be asking other questions like, what you guys are searching for a prince. What if it's a princess? Like, are you,
Yeah.
what if you, like, should you be searching for other means? Like, we know that she's projecting this. What if it's not actually a prince? What if it's something else?
Right.
What if it's Nox?
Right. That's what I was thinking because Nox is dark like the Northern Fae. Like,
Yeah. And she was, we don't know what happened to her. How old is she now? 20? It's been 20 years.
yeah.
It's been fucking 20 years, bitch. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yes. Just yes to all
But,
of that.
but, in terms of the curse, okay, I gotta, hold on. I got lightheaded because I got excited for a second. Whew. Blood pressure got too high for a second. Oh my lord. Okay, so in terms of the curse, so we know that it changes the way people look, but what if because it directly affected him, like he was directly cursed because in that flashback essentially we saw the queen say like blah blah blah, blah, you will never see her again, all of your people will forever be seen as demons for who you are, all these the bullshit things. But because he was directly like hit with that curse, what if that is what made him kind of insane, like kind of
Yeah.
lose his spark in life? Because like he changed after that. So like what
Yeah.
if it changed him on top of everything else because that's what he was down, like I don't know. Like maybe he's still good inside, maybe he knows what he's doing but he can't control it because of something that the curse did.
Yeah. It very well could be.
Um on page 157, if you don't have anything else till then, I had some
I don't
other
have
stuff.
anything else at all.
Okay. Well, on page 157, I got really kind of annoyed with her. I put maybe she shouldn't be selfish when people say things because she's like, you know, um I thought about all of these things, and when I was putting him down and all of these emotions and doing this and doing that, like I was treating him like crap and I was pushing him away, and this is all the feelings he's had, and this is all the stuff that he's harbored away for 20 years. And he saw me as a means to an end, not because of like a friend or anything like that, but because of all that he cares for his country, his this, like this is what he see. And it's like, yeah, stop being so fucking selfish.
Right. It's not about you.
Yeah. He saw the barest glimpse of a possible future where his troops, his family, his countrymen, his friends were not sent to the south of the border to die. Yeah, Amaris. So what? He didn't say you were his friend. You literally knew each other for fuck, not even that long.
Right, like maybe a month, 2 months.
Yeah, and you were not even with them for that 2 months. You were with them for one night, and he called you a fucking witch,
Yeah,
and that was it.
she's a mess.
Like if it was a Kai and he didn't call you a friend, I'd be a little concerned. That would probably piss me off more too.
Yeah.
But Gadriel not sitting there calling you a friend, I'd be like, oh well, he didn't call me an enemy. All right, cool, we're friends.
Right, like he's never called you a friend, so I don't know.
Okay. And then her whole little like, oh, I got a little flutter because we cuddled.
Well, yeah, she keeps having that because she had a flutter because he pulled her hair. She had a flutter because they cuddled.
Okay, I'd have a flutter because he pulled my hair too. Damn, like, okay. Like, if we reread that scene, I'd be like, whoo. She was being a brat. He was not having any of it, and she was not looking at him. Okay, like, yeah, I can see that. Okay, however, everything else. Okay, I
Yeah,
can
but
see
you
it.
aren't a cuddler.
Yeah, I'm not.
That is not in your love
I'm
language.
only like a cuddler like maybe like 4 days out of the entire month. Like yesterday, I looked at Will and I was like, "Will you face towards me?" He goes, "What?" And I was like, just hold me." And he goes, "Okay." And I started cuddling, and I was like, "You're not even cuddling me." And I was like trying to get his foot to like wrap around my foot, and he goes, "I'm holding you. What do you want?" And I was like, "Your foot's not fucking wrapped around me. It's not cuddling me." And then we go.
So even when you do cuddle, it's gotta be your specific way.
And then I just like lay there for a bit, and then I was like, "All right, I'm hot. Get off me."
Oh my
Listen,
gosh.
we're almost done, and I have like two other things to talk about for the rest of this entire episode. So, side note, you need to have a moment where you just ask Brittany some random ass questions. There's a couple on Instagram that I was like scrolling through and I found them, and this wife asks her husband the most random ass questions, and I was asking him the questions, and he was like, "This is traumatizing. I don't want to answer these questions." And I was like, "No, these are some good questions. Like, come here and like whatever." So I was sitting there listening or like asking him these questions, and the audacity of this man to answer these questions. I was so upset. I was like, "What's my biggest red flag?" And he goes, "Turn to your left." And I looked over, and he goes, "That little pharmacy of your shelf over there." And I was like, "My mental health." And he goes, "Yeah, that's probably your biggest red flag." And I was like, "I have childhood trauma." He goes, "I know. You cry about it almost every day." And then you get angry because you're crying about it. And then I was like, okay, so if I got arrested, like if you're watching the news and I was getting arrested and you saw me getting arrested, like what would I be getting arrested for? And he goes, and he started laughing like without a pause, immediately started laughing as if he fucking knew the answer already. Like he thought about this already before I asked this question. And I was like, you already know the answer to this goddamn question, don't you? And he goes, yeah. You want to know what? All right. It could be road rage. You could literally be parked and then somebody gets out of the car and they hit the car and you're just get out of the car like, what the fuck? You hit my car and then you just hit their car back just because you could. Like you literally like your brain like goes straight to your hands. Like it skips everywhere else. And he goes, no. Your brain doesn't think about it. It's like from your heart straight to your fist. Like it just goes like you have anger problems. And he goes he goes, I don't know, punching a customer one of these days because they returned a cat that they didn't want because of some stupid reason, like yelling at somebody for whatever the case, like some rage affecting, because you are a little ball of fucking rage. And I looked at him and he goes, because you don't think about your actions, you just do. You don't think, you just do. I was like, because Walt Disney said, listen to your heart.
Okay, but Walt Disney was not a great man, so maybe we don't take his advice to verbatim.
I never was racist though.
Fair, but still, like,
Like on purpose. Like, damn. Whew. But yeah, anyways, that was apparently I'm a chaos goblin. I was like, I want to be a pixie. I want to be this cute little fae. He
oh
goes,
no, Brittany
yeah.
has straight up called me a feral raccoon. That has been a conversation that has been had.
We went out axe throwing when I was a manager at PetSmart. Still, we went out axe throwing. He went and got pizza, and he comes back and he goes, "All right, here you go." And I opened it up and I was like, "The fuck?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's for my chaos pixie because you're a little ball of anger." I was like, "Yeah, pizza." And then I proceeded to throw the fucking axe and it got lodged into the fucking like into the board. When I pulled out the axe, the whole board came with. And he looked at me, he goes, "Anger." Ooh, all right, anyways.
That's funny. So chapter 16. Basically this entire chapter, well, the first half of this chapter, they're planning to leave the university and talking about going to Rascot, and I'm excited about that. And then we come, which on page 164, we come to the part that is also very similarly taken from SJM. So do you have anything before page 164?
Nope.
Okay. So on page 164, the master Fehu had come to
Whenever
get
I think
Amaris.
Fehu, all I can think of is how the Grinch stole Christmas.
Yeah. But she comes to get her, and they go see the master manufacturer, and he has made this cloth, basically a type of fabric kind of thing, and it's like a weird type of fabric. She's never seen anything like it before. They tell her to stab it, and immediately I was like, it's for his wings, because just last week I was reading Queen of Shadows, Queen of Shadows right here, by Sarah J. Maas, or it might have been in the book before this. It might have been in Air of Fire, but
hey, look, it's
the
Amaris.
the right. The I was reading that book, and some of the chapters are about these Iron Teeth witches who are wyvern riders, and
I know what kind of people they are.
yeah. And
Honestly,
one of the
Venom.
right, so one of the wyvern's wings aren't strong enough to like keep up with the other wyverns, and his rider wants to be the basically the wing leader. She wants to be. I think they might even use the word wing leader, of the army or whatever that they're trying to build. So she goes with her wyvern to these mythical spiders that live on this mountain, which are reminiscent of the spider in Lord of the Rings. But she goes to these spiders to bargain for their silk, and she ends up killing or stealing the silk. But that's beside the point. They use the silk to reinforce her wyvern's wings, in the same way that they use this new textile fabric to reinforce Gadriel's wings. Like, I
Wow,
was
wow,
reading
wow.
it like, what the fuck? Like, what?
Didn't I read this last week?
Yeah, like I was really like, whoa. And then the rest of that chapter is literally um just Gadriel flying around, and she uses the term frolicking because his wings are fixed and he can fly.
Yeah, he is so excited. He's like a kid on Christmas.
Which makes sense because, like, imagine that you thought you were never going to walk again, and then there's a miracle cure and you're able to walk again. Like, I would be overjoyed.
It's like
So,
Cass when his like wings were shredded.
yeah.
But yay, Daddy Gad is back in action.
Yeah. Is that what you wrote?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically all of chapter 16. Like, that's it. And then chapter 17 gets weird.
Yeah, I didn't like chapter 17 because it made me feel like they were just gonna like lock her in her room. And so Amaris is like talking about I'm glad she stayed. They like stayed long enough to like get the wings
Yeah.
or like the fabric and all of that because like he was just like, yeah, let's just go. Fuck these
Yeah.
guys, like let's just go. Um but the uh they were gonna stay the night, get a good night's sleep, and then they were gonna leave in the morning. Um well, Master Feiyu comes to talk to her, and it's just so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like
It's
she's
really awkward.
she's weird, yes. Not
So,
weird,
when they
but
describe her, I imagine Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. Because they talk about her big eyes, and, like, that's what I
yeah.
imagine.
So I imagine her as Mantis, like looking like Mantis and all of that, but with like the ethereal walking and not breathing of
Yeah.
the uh tall gray people from, I don't know. It's a Star Wars. Have you watched Star Wars, right?
No.
Okay. I don't remember who they are, but it's in the second one. It's the second or third one. They they go to like an planet that's literally it's just fucking raining all the time. And Owen McGregor or Owen Ewan McGregor, his character goes onto the ship and it's literally just like the stereotypical looking like alien, like gray, very like big head but like slender chin. But like they don't breathe. They literally like look like they're gliding because they're just like so ethereal. Like that's what I was thinking.
Got you. Yeah.
I'll send you a clip.
Okay.
But she's just being just weird about it. Like
And really
it's not like,
cryptic.
yeah, it's not like like trying to get some last minute knowledge in or like studies like that of a researcher. It's what does she not know so I could like force her to stay kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and it almost seems like she's trying to say that Amaris is not part Fae.
Yeah,
Like,
because she's like,
it,
oh, I'm half Fae, and she goes, are you?
yeah.
And then Mars is like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah. And then she's like, later, Amaris is like, there are lots of Fae at the university. Fae, humans with a small magic, perhaps witches. And Feihu laughs and goes, people say the strangest things, don't they? But, like, she never fucking explains herself.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's like, is she not
She's just
part Fae? I
asking a
don't
bunch
know.
of random questions.
Yeah. And then we find out that a lot of the people that Amaris's gifts did not work on didn't work because they are warded. Like they're wearing warded pieces of jewelry or something. not because they're part Fae, which seems obvious now that I know. Like, it feels like, oh, well, duh. Like, obviously that's a thing, but at
Mm-hmm.
the time of reading it, it didn't. But all of this is basically Feyush trying to convince Amaris to stay at the university. And
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
literally,
let's power you up. Let's do this. And then she's like, oh, Samael was like, oh, I haven't seen one of these in forever. And I'm like, and then Gadriel still looks like a Gimni to everybody, so then they can study him as well.
yeah.
So ooh, it's getting kind of it's getting kind of scary up in here.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if you watch the clip,
Yeah.
you'll like see how they walk
Yep. It's
and
creepy.
like their like movements, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, I can see it. I get what you're saying.
That, yeah, that's who I thought. That's kind of how I pictured her walking.
Yeah.
But anyways, she and it's just really weird. Like I feel like they should have left. She was all about like let's say our goodbyes, let's do it, and it's like
Nope, let's
okay,
go.
then Master Neil is really pissed off at you for trying to let out her possibility of like chaining the Agimni to her bestiary. I don't think she cares.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna want like let you just walk away.
Like you say your thanks when they gave you your gift, you fucking get out of there while you can because you are travelers, you are not
Yeah.
their friends, and that's that.
Yeah. So on
You
page
literally stole
181,
from them.
yeah. Page 181, before we even find out what like before Amaris even goes to tell Gadriel what's happened, um she's like basically setting up an appointment to meet with Feihu the next morning, or Feihu, however you say it. Um and then
I
I
say
I was
Fayu,
Feihu.
like
Okay.
yeah, without the H.
Okay. Um and I was like, well, so much for a good night of sleep. We need to get the fuck out of here. Like,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what Amara says. And then we have
But
like a 3 paragraph, 2 page thing that is a
I'm
very
glad your face
vague.
is as confused as I am because
Yeah.
that's basically what it wrote. I was like, did we have like a grand fight at the end where all the grand masters were like trying to stop them from leaving?
Yeah.
Or
That's what it
did
seems like.
we
Like, it seems
like
like maybe
are
we could
you
have had another chapter in there
yeah, or like
describing
are
their
you
escape.
just saying that like this is what people are going to say that the travelers came in and did this and did that and then they like drastically left and to save face
Yeah.
they're going to treat them as thieves or like that's I don't know
Yeah. It was very weird.
because it's like as with history's fantastical events there would be most probably be songs poems rumors gossip and outright lies that emerged from the mouths of university students who had watched or heard or discussed the events in hushed whispers in the time that would follow.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So is what we're
what?
gonna read be real or not? Like, what? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to
Yeah, it's
find
like
out.
some students recalled how Feu and Neil had been waiting outside the healer's hall, while other students swore it was all seven masters on horseback. Others say they called on defensive powers, casting shields of green to cage and sending students back to their beds, saying that the university was under siege. And then others are saying that it was the demon in Gimni.
Yeah, it was all weird. That whole thing was just
And I was
weird.
like, are you just like describing all the various stories that could come out of the fact that you just left in the night?
Yeah. Well, and I'm wondering if
I'm
maybe
like, what's the point?
like some of these stories are going to reach Nox and
Oh,
Ash
yeah.
and Malik, and maybe that's why. I'm not
Like
sure.
maybe this is like a letter to Nox or like a diary she's keeping in
Yeah.
case like something happens and this goes to Nox.
Yeah, it was very weird.
I don't know. But That was mainly what I said. I basically said, Feyu never settled right with me. Also, did we have a grand fight that I just didn't know?
Right? Like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah.
But yeah.
And then that's the
So
end of chapter 17 and part 1 of the book.
yeah. So part 2, the terrible gift of knowing, will come next time. And tomorrow, Brandy is going to be in South Carolina with me. Well, tomorrow, as in the time of this publishing.
Yeah, when this posts, I will be on my way. Well, that next morning I'll be on my way to South Carolina.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo!
Party. Just kidding. But all right, until next time.
Bye.